Now, new questions are emerging about what federal health officials knew during the COVID vaccine rollout and whether the public was given the full picture about possible safety concerns. A recent Senate review led by Senator Ron Johnson is reviewing scrutiny of the vaccine adverse event reporting system known as VAERS and how reports of possible side effects were handled during the pandemic. Joining us now to discuss is Dr. Ryan Cole, head of the Medical and Scientific Affairs for the Independent Medical Alliance. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You bet, Angela. Thank you.
So for people who may not be aware, what exactly is the vaccine adverse event reporting system? What's their role? What did they do during the COVID vaccine rollout?
Sure. VAERS has existed for about 30 years. It's an early reporting system to find safety signals. Okay. So it's basically the canary in the coal mine. And so when adverse events do occur after the rollout of something new, we have something to report to, whether it's a doctor, a family, or an individual.
Okay, so something happens, what, people report to this system?
Yes, they can.
Okay, so Senator Ron Johnson, his review has raised new questions about how, possible safety signals were handled. What do you believe the public needs to know at this point and what may not have been told at that time?
Yeah, the important thing is that system does show those signals, and there was a cover-up by the officials at FDA of the data that were coming in. So people lost the opportunity to make a risk-benefit choice, to have informed consent in terms of getting that shot or not, because we were seeing severe signals of harm that were covered up by the officials at the FDA that knew as early as March of 21 of things like sudden cardiac death, of strokes, of pulmonary emboli, that's clots to the lungs, things of that sort, which are life-threatening in nature, and yet officials in the government decided that we, the people, didn't need to know that.
Now, one of the issues here involves myocarditis, particularly among younger people. What do we know about those reports?
Yeah, that's the other concerning area, is we knew that young people were at very low risk for COVID, yet these shots carried that risk of heart damage. And that heart damage, we found, can carry on with scarring later on in these young individuals. And again, it's a canary in the coal mine. These young individuals should have been given the option to avoid something that had early safety warnings that were ignored.
Now, as more information continues to come to light on this, what should patients and families who still have questions about vaccines?
All right, Shalom. I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem El-Shah, by Hashem, Rakah, Kodash, double honors to apostles of GMS, and sincere Shalom to the brothers out here pushing this truth and sincerity. So I'm going to keep this video short, because got to make this one quick. But it's funny how now this whole virus came out 2019, even though we know that they had it for a longer time. Came out 2019 as made it public. Then they got a whole vaccine literally months later to 2020. Here it is 2026, and now they question it because of all the stuff that goes on. Now, she said VAERS, but she didn't mention the other vaccines that was also doing damage to these people, such as mess with RNA, actually a whole list of things, causing blood clots, mess with RNA, people randomly dying from this stuff, causing heart attacks from this. And then they have the excuse to pin people being shot and dying to the whole COVID thing, to bring more fear tactics into these people, using old video, very old videos that was in black and white. Mind you, that should have been a catch right there when they were showing this stuff. They had a video in black and white of people dying to a disease that they was claiming to be COVID, but it wasn't in it. But this video was back in, I think, 1974, or probably even before that. And it was still a whole different disease. And it made people get the fear tactics, left and right. So this is Micah 6:12. It says, "For the rich men thereof are full of violence, and the inhabitants thereof have spoken lies, and their tongue is deceitful in their mouth." So Esau plays the game. He gets his underlings to play out the chess match, and these people fall for it. They Then it becomes a whole big commercial. Everybody should be masked up and all this other stuff. Now you got mostly women doing this, by the way. Black women, as I go into stores, anywhere I go, they do this whole hand gesture to have your mask on and all this other stuff. Well, where's your mask at? And I'm like, y'all could have just simply asked me the question. But it's the women that's mostly wearing the mask. I've seen a good portion of guys wearing it, but it's mostly women. I'm like, damn, the whole fear tactic of women actually works. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. But for me to actually sit here and witness it on a high scale, that this further proves that women are the weaker vessels because of this stuff. Well, just so happens that a lot of women that was also for the whole pro-vaccines things, I found out a lot of them was dying quicker than men. So, what did y'all people get out of this? More problems than anything. I saw one person I saw that or online that because of the vaccine, one person had to get their arm amputated. Does the very same arm they got the shot in, by the way? Arm was basically black and blue. So you had to tell me, was this worth it out of your own fear, panic? No, let's not forget, especially on jobs. I know a lot of people remember this one. They used the whole fear tactics of losing your job to get this vaccine, and people fell for it left and right. Ain't that something? So this is Luke 21:11. It says, "And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places," which means a large commotion, and actual earthquakes, by the way, "and famines and pestilence, and fearful sights and great sights shall there be from heaven." Great signs, Saga. And so we have the earthquakes, both literal, by the way, actual earthquakes and large amount of commotions, even up to for a very long time, even before this whole COVID thing, really. Because you have to remember, that was plain disease before that. And then all the problems that came with it. Then you got famines. Prices going high like crazy. You got pestilence. COVID. Actually, over COVID, there's been a large list of new strands of diseases popping out. You don't even hear the talks about COVID no more. You don't see people walking outside with a mask no more. Not even a single thank you to these people for doing what they did. So you had the question, what happened to all that? Now the biggest disease is actually I forgot the name of it, but hell, you even got new drugs on the rise, fentanyl and all that stuff. Hell, I hear more talk about fentanyl than I ever did about COVID. Like ever, I hear more talks literally about fentanyl than I've ever heard in COVID throughout the entire time of it being out. That should tell you something. And it says, "In fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven." So, I ain't gonna get into that one because there's been a lot of sightings from stuff, and these people been recording a lot of stuff that's been happening, which means that the Lord's working this magic like crazy. But for people to sit here and be like, just all forgotten about it, and think that everything was just gonna be okay, they don't understand that this was just all a bait tactic, especially to see if how willing people will be if you how far willing people will be if you back them in the corner far enough to take what they want, especially when that chip comes out. That's all this was a lead up to. This was just an experiment. This whole vaccine thing wasn't even tested. You had Fauci, someone that's a part of Microsoft, I think if I remember correctly, it's Microsoft that somehow is in the medical, dealing with helping with medical stuff. How does that even work? This was untested for it to come out within months. When vaccines is supposed to take years before they can be fully come out to the public. Even then, every vaccine has its problems. But now this thing is causing deaths, which I'm pretty sure some other vaccines cause death too. Ain't nothing new under this stuff. But these people get exactly what they got. Now they're gonna try to. Now that this comes out, they're gonna try to start taking possibly some legal actions if that's even possible for these people. But good luck. Last scripture. This is Proverbs 11:21. It says, "Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered." These people gave in to Esau. A lot of them willingly, by the way, before it got to the jobs. And it was like, yeah, this is good for us, and they vouched for it and all this other stuff. People are still getting sick somehow. Somehow, these people that were getting these shots were still getting sick. I ain't just talking about because they already had the stuff in there, but I'm talking about even afterwards. Y'all convinced a lot of people, a lot of your other civilian people to take it, and it backfired. You're getting you're getting one part of your punishment, but this is from the people that was already that loves to be locked and loaded with this place, anyways. So because you had the love of this place and you took this stuff, well, now you're going to get the backlash of it. But see, and now this wasn't to say that the virus itself wasn't dangerous. People would still actually die from it. That's what made it bad for a lot of people as it is. But to show videos or that showed old videos of people that was already dead and make it seem like it was from COVID, that inspired fear into these people. But see, the Lord was with us. Now, we knew how to maneuver around it as we took it seriously. Some brothers have passed away in the troop from it, but for the most part, the Lord has protected us from it to make sure that we do the things the right way. Because it was nothing more than just a real big cold, a real big flu, really, like a bigger version of a flu. So it was not to be taken lightly. But you didn't. But to actually sit here and take a vaccine, that was your downfall. So, little one, this is a little edifying with that. Shalom.